Well, we're hearing very similar things here in the US about the agreement from American scientists and US activists. That yes, it's great that there is this now more ambitious target for not having temperatures rise more than 2 degrees, preferably 1.5 degrees. There is that hope that this will now unlock lots more investment in clean energy and so on. But having said that, though, everyone knows that the pledges on the table right now from those who signed up to this treaty get nowhere near 1.5 or less than 2 degree Celsius rise in temperatures. It's closer to 3.5 degrees. So there is that. Basically, what we're hearing is you can go either way, basically. Either this means that there's now a nice framework to hold President Obama, to hold the United States government to account, so it has to stick to the kind of commitments it's been making, or you just throw your hands up in the air and say, look, the whole thing is just words, because the key bits of this agreement aren't legally binding, no matter what Laurent Fabius says, and those are how much each country will reduce their emissions by and who's actually going to spend the money to help developing countries mitigate the effects of climate change.
What about the Republicans? We know their long-standing position on this. Climate change deniers still very much there trying to make their voices heard, but what sort of reaction can we expect to this deal?
And that's the key. I mean, one of the reasons why those key bits of the agreement aren't legally binding was because the White House wanted to avoid bringing this to Congress, where 58% of Republicans don't even believe, or at least say they don't believe, in man-made climate change. In fact, we heard from some reports that one of the reasons why the announcement in Paris was delayed an hour was because a key bit of the text was being haggled over. There was a verb which they were using the word shall, they should instead of shall, rather. So should, in a key bit of the text, suggested a legally binding commitment and thus a treaty which would have to go to Congress. Shall is a bit more open to interpretation, isn't a legally binding commitment, so therefore it won't have to go to Congress. So this is, one of the reasons why there is this wiggle room in this treaty. Yeah, I mean, the point is the fossil fuel industry has spent millions of dollars over several decades in Congress to try and prevent any action on climate change, even though we now know the companies like Exxon knew 38 years ago about climate change well before most scientists did. But they've had a campaign of disinformation. I was just looking it up, $588 million alone given to 163 representatives of Congress between 2013 and 2015 alone. So I guess there is one way of looking at it, that if perhaps the fossil fuel industry changes its position, perhaps Congress will change its position as well, and we will see some change.